Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Welcome to the time after. After the buying, the wrapping and unwrapping, after the eating, after the rehearsals and the costuming and the storytelling. This is the time after the labor and delivery, when you hold the baby and think, oh my God, now what? Welcome to the season of Christmas. If we're not careful, we might be tempted by the urge to set our sights on New Year's Eve. I mean, who among us is not ready for a fresh start? An end to the long expanse of time that has been 2020 and 2021. We grit our teeth and buckle down to transform ourselves. Global pandemic or no, this is the time to finally commit to the health, wealth, success, or beauty that we've so far been unable to achieve. But wait, hold on, stay here for a while, here in the mystery, in the new thing God is already doing. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word became flesh and lived among us. The writer of the Gospel of John deliberately echoes Genesis. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. John brings us back not just to a stable 2,000 years ago, but to the very creation of the cosmos. This word is the same word that God spoke in saying, "Let there be light." And now this light, shining in the holy and radiant darkness, becomes incarnate for us, that we might draw nearer to God's glory. Jesus comes among us that we might see in the pattern of a human life the order of all creation, the grace upon grace that has been poured out for us. There is a rhythm to the cosmos, a pattern in the story of creation if we just stop and look. God's word speaks life into being. God calls it good. Night comes. Day follows. And after working for 6 days, God rests. God creates the Sabbath to pause, to enjoy, to be renewed. Now, I know absolutely nothing about dog sledding. I was born and raised in Florida. But an article by Alaskan musher, dog sled driver, Blair Braverman, has stayed with me since I read it over a year ago because of what she articulates about the absolute necessity of rest. The sledding dogs are smart, she says, really smart. They pick up on impending storms before she does. They notice animal tracks she would have overlooked. They know that they're stronger than she is. And they want to run. They want to run full speed immediately and for as long as they can until they drop. Braverman has to pace her dogs, even though it goes against their every instinct. When they run a long-distance, multiple-day race, she stops them after the first 4 hours. They don't like it. That's just when they've built up momentum. They feel totally fine to keep going. They complain and circle restlessly, but she stops them anyway. She builds a fire, sets up their beds, warms up some food. They rest. 4 hours later, they do it again. This is what they need to go the distance Braverman knows they are trying to cover. The dogs don't understand at the start how long the journey will be. All they see is right now, what feels possible at the moment, what they're capable of at the start. I'm struck by how much easier it seems like it would be to just let them run until they were exhausted. At the discipline it takes to say, no, stop now. Rest is essential. It's a pattern. You need it before you know you need it. The Word became flesh, bringing life and grace and truth. The Word put human form on the pattern of days and nights, work and Sabbath. Jesus himself often withdrew to the wilderness or to a garden to pray. He removed himself from the crowds, even knowing their unending need. He ate good food with his friends. He reclined, relaxed in people's homes. We are made in this same image of God. We are children of this order that God has created. What would it be like for us to rest? Not once we're exhausted and burned out, unable to cope anymore, but as a rhythm, a pattern, as a discipline to prepare us for however long the journey turns out to be. We have reached the end of Advent, but the anticipation is not over. The baby's here, and that's only a beginning. There's yet more growth and next milestones and new stages and always the need to find time for a shower. A new year is nearly dawning, and still we wait for a real end to COVID, always seemingly around the next bend. If we just keep going forward, pushing through, because at the moment it feels like we have to, we won't make it. Not whole, not well. What instead might life look like ordered with Sabbath as the cornerstone? How might you this year preemptively break the endless news cycle and make space instead for beauty or poetry? How might you reach out to ask for help before the loneliness feels desperate? Or to offer connection before a neighbor tells you what's really going on for them? Braverman says that the most important reason to rest early is that it builds trust. A sled dog learns that by the time she's hungry, her musher has already prepared a meal. By the time she's tired, she has a warm bed. If she's cold, you have a coat or blanket for her. If she's thirsty, you have water. And it's this security, this trust, that lets her pour herself into the journey, give the trail everything she has without worrying about what comes next. This is what God offers us, friends. It is in this rhythm of rest and making space that beautiful things happen. It's where we hear what goodness God is calling us into rather than who the world would have us be. It's where we learn to receive grace upon grace. This grace is not earned, but it is practiced. Maybe deep rest goes against your instincts, or maybe it smacks into everything you have learned about being productive and valuable. Stop anyway. Enter this season fully. Allow yourself to sink into it. Take up Sabbath keeping as a discipline. We don't know how long the journey will be. But if we practice this rhythm, if we pattern our lives alongside the Word who speaks life, we will be renewed and ready for whatever comes next.